Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Everything Base as we go through an exciting time because we get to play with new things. Now, before we immediately jump onto that, something I should really fix, and yes indeed, hello YouTube. And YouTube's, as I just said, YouTube's been really good at saying hello to Twitch, so there you go, a lot of love from you guys. And some of you are the same people as well, so say hello to yourselves, your past selves, future selves, I don't know. Okay, now I was just thinking, before we turn this on, we should liquid lock this, because currently it's a vacuum, but it's a vacuum to water, so it's liquid locked with water. But if we're shooting super hot petroleum and water through, this water could get a little bit hot. So I would rather have some petroleum over here before we go nuts on that. So anyway, just a little catch on that, and then we're going to play with that. This second planetoid, I don't think we're doing much. We have a strip mine going. Let me double check my planning as well, which I always forget every week. Okay. Because, yes, I would like a unreachable, a petroleum boiler on this planetoid, so we need to make space for all that. But that is for a little bit of a way off, so can probably take this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. And then just digging all these liquids together. Not really fast. So I do need to have a plan. And a very loose plan for satisfactory. So, oh, we're over here as well. As I was mentioning before stream as well. Of course, Satisfactory 1.0 launch week. So lots of my chat has been playing, and if you guys on YouTube have been playing, let me know what you're up to. How it's going, because I have also, of course, been playing. This could really be. Ideally, this would be too wide. We could do 2 of them. Didn't think about that. Yeah. The problem is, it's too wide. You've got to get rid of more magma, so it's like half of one, half the other. Yeah, come on. Here's unreachable food. Move, dog. Don't you have a load of... Okay. Right. Managed to stick himself there. With a rather dupe. Yeah, that one's done. Thank you, Razor. Spreadsheets has a plan. I mean, always. You know, what's the point of having spreadsheets? You gotta have a plan for it. Yeah, my satisfactory plan was massive. It was overly ambitious last time, so yeah, we definitely got to run with a community server for that. Okay, pitch pump has no more liquid. Okay. Oh, we're gonna have to make this 3 wide anyway. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we can start to come down here. No wolf wrap. Yeah, just gotta have them not stand in there. Oh, you need more players. Yeah, we do. I think what we need a dedicated four-person team. I was saying. So, there, if you're up for it. I guess we just need 2 more people. Hi, Eric. Welcome in, welcome in. We're doing well. We've just about started, so not too much. Right. The problem with doing like things like this. I'm just going to forget. You can be dedicated. You find the time as well. See, on Monday I'm going to be flying back to the UK, so I'll be out for 2 weeks. That'll mean no stream next week, but we'll have to move the one afterwards. But we'll miss one, unfortunately. There's some YouTube videos going though. I did actually mean to release the video. I finished the Frosty Planet Pack summary video, and then I completely we forgot. Okay, I forgot to actually release it, which is a bit silly. Okay, right. Okay, luckily there's some petroleum here because this sour gas, this turned immediately into sour gas, which I didn't think about. I probably should have done. Okay, but either way, I think we're now okay to toggle both of these. Again, they've got no priority on this, so, you know. Dedication. Well, the thing is, last time I just did it kind of ad hoc, so it was a little bit... I didn't manage to work out how to do a dedicated server. Which meant I was the one hosting all the time. Which kind of worked. But yeah, I mean, we're playing a reasonable. The thing is, I mean, it doesn't have to be people, you know, the same people. Actually, you can just, you know, people can just tag in and out. Fine. Okay. Right. Down we come. Then what we want to do is close this off as quickly as possible. Just wondering if we can corner build our way through this. We probably could corner build our way through this if we wanted to. Okay. Do that order, okay. Try and get your driving license. It's a 3. Oh no. Can I even do anything with this? Does that priority do anything? Absolutely not. Okay. Sure, I guess we have to wait. Or we could do some manual toggling on that. Okay. Try and get as much of this built as possible. Okay, planetoid 2. Okay, can't get over here. Nope, what are you doing? Put that in. Third planetoid, this was also strip mining. Okay, they're still going for a while. I have to do something over here as well. Am I going to stream Satisfaction? I missed your question, peeps. Maybe. I did do that once last time. The problem is more time. It's all time. And not enough of that. Okay. Done. It's like examine. Oh, that sucks. Okay, Wolfrat, this is dodgy. Okay, didn't lose too much health there. This is fine. Why is this overheating? You know. Yep, big man there. What's going on with the telescoping as well? I feel like this is something that's going to get forgotten about. Can we come back? Yeah, okay. We'll bring Big Boss back. Yep, completely forgot about him. There's a lot going on right now. I'm kind of balancing three lived-in planetoids plus this one. Plus, oh god, we've got entombment as well. That'll be this thing. And entombed on here too, but that oxalate will come out. Okay, right, I think we're okay. Don't know what's going on. Too many things, guys, too many things. This is why I generally avoid so many planetoids. I think what we need to do is someone, I don't really care who, needs to start super toggling. And then we might be able to get that done. This is definitely an oversight on Clay's part. They really need to fix this. These things need priority modifiers. We're really missing that one. Okay. Okay, good. Just suck all this magma out. 800 kilos at a time. So I mean that's two pumps per tile. So the only I suppose this is actually slowing us down now, which is interesting. We need more of these. There we go. And thank you for the follow, Dalgovnia. Welcome in. Okay. Right, this got toggled. That one's blocked. This. Oh, Joe's going for downtime. Okay, we got one toggled. Okay, I've got an activate button, but this one, yeah, alright, okay, so I didn't need to worry so much. Space is a nice place to throw garbage liquids into. Yeah, I mean, we do love how it just disappears. pretty convenient. Okay, we'll just copy those. Yeah, and we're doing okay on the radiation over here. This is not bad. There we go. I just dumped the magma there. I mean, that kind of works. Alright, so I'm hoping when Joe wakes up, we'll be all good. Lava just... Exactly. Anything just pops out of existence. Gases too. Just gone. Oh, this one. Oh, great. This one's gone and this one's gone. Things gone. Can I even get up here? No. I really need a ladder section here. That would fix a lot of things. Okay. Let's do that. At least the solar panels online. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely helpful. Something you've got to be careful of early on, but later on, more useful than harmful. Okay. Just gonna grab these. Yeah, we'll slowly work our way through, and then basically we'll do the same on this bit, and then we should be able to just sneak left, I think, and grab the niobium. Remember, we only need 5 kilos to actually make infinite thermium. We just need infinite tungsten, so that means getting to the marshy planetoid, which will be our next target over here. But we'll grab the niobium first. Do we actually have any wolframite? I have no idea. Prints. Alright, I'm not really looking for dupes again, as I say most times. So we're going to chill out on that. Wolframite to tungsten. Okay, we've got 4.5 tons of tungsten, which is not a lot. Let's stick some of that through, because it'll be useful. We'll use the thermium sparingly, obviously, at the start. Okay, come on, dupes. This should be pretty quick now. It's only 2 tiles wide. Yeah, good 800 kilo pump, which will to keep putting it in plastic bottles. I mean, this is the mystery of Oni, right? The magical plastic bottle that is completely immune to all kinds of heat and atmosphere and whatever. It's yeah, real game magic, that one. Some of the gas canisters. Yeah, I think it also really confuses new players as well. The whole bottling mechanic. It's rather strange when you think about it. Just don't think about it too much. Okay. Because yeah, I mean, it doesn't really make any sense. People do get confused by it. Fill that up. Bottle gets replaced with a tank for clear waste. Perfect. Oh, for nuclear waste. Yeah. Well, I feel like that nuclear waste was an addition in the Spaced Out DLC, right? And then magma's always been in the game. It's probably a legacy thing more than anything. It did confuse it with shipping. Well, I gotta be honest, the conveyor belt system is definitely way worse than the pipe and the gas and the liquid pipe systems. Okay, right, we are ready, and this one is blocked, so let me just turn that toggling back. And thank you, Ghost Rider, for your continued sub for 2 years. Thank you, appreciate that. Welcome in. It's been so long. It's been this long. I know, right, but you joined me here for the pressing this button. So let's see what happens when I press this button. Okay, you just cleared the obstructed geovent. Now maximize the full potential by keeping the obstruction as a trophy. There we are, imperative achieved, full steam ahead. That is the 46th achievement, which I was obviously missing, so spoiler alert, but we managed to get that achievement as the meteor blaster animation. Okay, here comes some random stuff. There's our project building. That wasn't too bad, I think we did alright with that. Though the journey has been long and marked by challenges that often seem insurmountable, we have prevailed in harnessing this planet's core potential. We now stand proudly at the precipice of a sustainably powered future. It is deeply humbling. I'm hopeful that we have learned enough to wield this machinery more wisely than those who came before us. Well, let's hope so. We can beat Gravitas. That'll be good. Right, well there you go. That's another achievement down, of course, on our all achievement run. And also the reason why I had to start on a series start, because this achievement is only available on this start. So yeah, there you go. Right, but we are also filling this with steam and sour gas. So good thing I liquid locked this over here. I didn't really think about this now, did I? Because these things are just going to dump out all the petroleum. Oh, I know it's going to turn all into sour gas. Okay, I didn't really think about that. I'm fine with steam. Steam's fine. The petroleum, not so good. Yeah, I probably should have like harnessed this or something before I started. We've got a bit of sour gas in here. What I could really do is another liquid lock and then start putting these in. You're better than a Gravitas. I mean, I hope so. Given what they did, you'd be hard pressed to be worse, right? Oh, we've also got to corner build these as well. I kind of forgot about that because we need to get through here. Okay. Okay. 3, that's it. Yeah, now we've got to do something actually with that geothermal, which I didn't really think about, to be honest. Okay. Nice. So I think we just got these 6 tiles to pull out. This will squeeze some magma inside, but once we're through that, we can just slip our way sideways and down into the Niobium. That is a mission success. Okay, strip mining over here. Can we move these now? Yeah, cool. I think I just gave someone the ranching skill before I started, so we'll rescue these plug slugs and stop them eating our refined metals and our metal ores without having to murder them. Another one. Okay. Because yeah, they will eat all your metals, which are not good. And then, yeah, okay, I better start opening the right thing now, hadn't I? So, let me have a quick look at my nuclear power 1 take. So I can... nuclear power of the CLRR and the normal one. Where's the normal one? Nuclear... Have I only got the advanced one? Oh, where's the normal one? Oh, maybe I didn't provide one for that one. Yeah. Okay. That's rather right. I'm going to have to go check the video. Yeah, we need to plan in that, and we also need to plan this one too. What are we going to do with this? Background. Someone's scolding. I'm guessing that's on the magma planetoid. It almost always is. I like how this aligns with the life set. That's good. And okay. You have to do something with this. What? I don't know yet. Like that. Yeah, so I just made a lot of sour gas down here that I don't really want. And there's a lot of petroleum that we probably do want, but hopefully this stuff will stay. At least this one will stay. These... That needs toggling again. These ones are definitely going to go. Okay, they're ready, and I think we've run out of fluid. So what we have to do is pump water in here and then take it out to power, right? That's the key. So I think it was... Was it 10? It's 10 kilos a second per vent, and that should be 5 steam turbines, I think. So Oh, we got some tungsten going. So that means I should need a total of 15 steam turbines over here, is my expectation. How on earth are we going to do this? I guess we'll just have to build over here and hope for the best. We could try and squeeze this down a little. Ooh, hermit recruitment progress. That's what I'm sitting there. I guess we powered George on for 5 cycles because that's all I did. Haven't got any nice food for him yet. We can slowly work on George. There's so much going on, guys. There is. There's too much going on. Okay. I'm trying to focus on all the things. All the things. Right, I need to, yeah. Let's see if I can find the video. Nuclear power. Where's the nuclear power one? That's the one. Let me double me for a sec. And pause it in time. Right, let's have a look. Okay, I guess I didn't even provide a one take because it's so straightforward. So I thought. I Pragmatic Gamer, welcome in. I am doing well. We are very busy. We have lots to do. Oh, good. Yeah, I'm just getting pulled between too many planetoids and too many things. My poor attention span is struggling. It is struggling. Okay. I mean, I suppose this one is really the one to worry about because it's probably the most dangerous. Also, I really don't want them to run out of food or oxygen, but I think we got loads of both of those, so we're all good. We need more priority 9, exactly. There, that is exactly what we need. Okay, yeah, so it looks like Big Man took some hits, but we'll get this magma out. Okay, now the question on here, is, where can I squeeze in the nuclear reactor? Does it even fit here? I have no idea. Okay, this thing's not too big. Those are 5. I think what we'll do is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Quickly, I'm just going to take all of this out as well. What happened here? I don't know, but it's full of holes in, I suppose. Okay, good. That, too many tabs. Right, one taking a nuclear. I did for the CLRR for the coolant limited reactor creepers, but not for the basic one. The basic one's quite straightforward. I basically just need the shape, which I don't need a one take for. 722. Yeah, that'll be for the that's for the CLRR one, not the simple one. I'll just do the simple one. That's all we need. That one was more of a something you can do rather than necessarily something you should do. I mean, I've had a number of people comment that they built it, so I'm glad I included that. But yeah, I mean, the normal one makes power too, but yeah, nuclear waste is what we're after. So it's just simpler, unless you need that much power, which basically you don't. Let's be honest, no one needs that much power, but if you want it, it's there. Right. Coming in. Come on, I really want this one done. Big man's now out of order. Okay, we have more outpost suits. Yeah, please fill this up now and then you can recharge overnight. That'll be good. Does take a little while to charge a fresh suit. Yeah, we are running through them, so we got some worn suits. Well, the first worn suit actually, but that's why I always pack more suits. I mean, in theory, you could pack reed fiber with you if you wanted, but I just find bringing some spare suits. No one needs so much power fuse rate. Well, I mean, yeah. Well, firstly, this isn't satisfactory where you do need that much power. But yeah, on the most tubes run, I think I ended up building, was it 6 or 8 sour gas boilers? And I had like 400 kilowatts of power. It was like, why? It was just, I didn't even want the power. I had way more power than you could use. And I also had the problem that there's no such thing as a heavy wire bridge, which meant actually divvying the circuits up really difficult. Yeah, I made them for the water, but they also made insane amount of power. But yeah, the problem was trying to make the circuits, because I couldn't jump them, so you have to be really careful. Also, yeah, we'll see. And the sour gas boiler is in the plans, so don't fear not. This is the everything base, must have a sour gas boiler, of course. So, what happened here? Did I build these out of granite, and then granite not so good at these temperatures? Is probably the answer. Is this a vacuum? I think this looks like a vacuum. I guess we can come across here. Yeah, I suppose we should do some strip mining over here. I did a little bit of strip mining for metal on this side, but with a lot of meat. 8 of 4. Ah, what happened to my cooling loop as well? Let's cancel attack and move that one in here. Bamini. Yeah, okay. Right. In theory, you could just leave the ice or water. Polluted water. I could just leave the ice in here and let it melt. I mean, that would also work. Right, what temperature do these plants want? So we're on minus 22 over here, we're on minus 12 when it's too hot. Minus 55 to minus 14, so why don't we shoot for, I don't know, minus 35? Seems pretty reasonable. When I get this done. Ugh. Okay. Right, almost there with this one. Where as well we're going to need to fill this loop from somewhere. I guess we can just put a little pump here. We'll use gold and do that. Get some super coolant in there as well. It's important. Oh. Oof. Okay, this polluted water's turning straight into ice. Okay. We'll leave that in there. How much have we got? Oh, I already picked it up. Okay, we'll warm this up with the coolant first, I think. Then we'll work it out. Okay, come on, dupes. 400 kilos is all that's standing between us and breaking through here. Should be a good sip from the straw. Okay. Oh, he's dropped it. Okay. Here comes Wolfrat, speeding along. So speedy. Perfect. Okay, so we can mop that. There you go. Right, nice and clean. Okay, down here we go. Lie in. Effectively, this is an SD, isn't it? Just realised I am SDing. 400 times 3. Oh no, what's 400 times 3? What? Come on, guys. 400 times 3 is 1200. The amount of magma. Yeah, well, it's times 2, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Yes, that was technically correct. Anyway, it's all gone now. Right, I'm going to set this priority 4 if I can find out my keyboard. Exactly, I mean, the dupes are super strong. Super annoying, super strong. Okay, down we go. And we will eventually colonize this planetoid. I did one, let's see. Okay, I actually have this down as a frozen base at the end of the day, so I have to freeze this entire planet away. That may be my plan. At least that's what I've got written down on the spreadsheet. It sounds ridiculous, but that's what I wrote down, so... it's probably from the magic gun, right? I mean, they just pull whatever they want out of their magic gun. Okay, the Niobium volcanoes here as well. So, what we'll do... We'll just toggle this to niobium. And we'll just grab a ton of it. I mean, why not? Plan, freeze the mag plant. That is my written down plan. Whether it's a good one or not, you can argue the toss on that. Not entirely convinced. Okay, question is, what else can I dig out? Just have these little veins. So they're very little. They're really not that little, these veins. They're quite large. And there's a good amount of niobium here. That still should be pathable, I think. This is a spreadsheet. No, the spreadsheet is the goal. The spreadsheet is not a plan. It's what I need to do. It's a to-do list. Oh yeah, I need some power in here. So let's link that, and then we'll put our lovely supercoolant in here. I do love supercoolant. If you can use supercoolant everywhere, it's just the best. Obviously, that's why it's super, but yeah. You do have to dedicate a bit of time to actually making it in relatively large amounts. Then after that, you're all good. Okay. Yeah, and then we'll heat this area up because this is actually too cold for water, let alone steam. So it's kind of hard to fill this. Okay, come on guys. There we go. How cold is this already? 20 degrees. Okay. So yeah, we'll just turn this on and then hopefully this will heat up the area very quickly. I'll run out of power. Okay, we'll definitely need some power in here. Okay, we've got a geothermal building for that. Right. Right. Oh, how do we get polluted oxygen in here? Because there's polluted water. Oh, god damn it. Okay, I guess... Okay, plan B. If we just build the insulated room from the inside, that should be fine, right? So, if we just build... Does this work? I have no idea. No idea. We make it long and thin? Is that going to be a problem? I don't know. Do we make it deeper? If you can't tell, I have no idea what I'm doing, guys. I have never done this before. So I'm just gonna go over a little bit of depth, because why not? This is gonna be a lot of igneous rock that I don't have. Great. A lot of igneous rock over here, actually. Do a bit of digging on that. We'll go with something like this, and then I suppose we'll just loop it up over here, and it will just fall down. We'll have to do a bit of pumping, all the rest of it. I mean, this sour gas has got to go somewhere. I don't know what to do with it. Iron ore? Why is this made out of iron ore? What the hell? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, but at least we're hot enough to get water in here, so... Should have been steel, obviously. Don't know how that ended up as iron ore, but... Anyway, so it did. Okay. Right, this is now priority 9, so they're digging a tiny bit and then immediately dumping into it, right? We have a whole 77 kilos of niobium, so that is something. Good. Which was totally stored. Also, I probably could use one, but why use one when I can use 3 creepers? I mean, I went to all that effort just to unblock it. Plus, you know, more stuff. This is the everything base. The everything base doesn't use one vent. The everything base uses all the vents. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, this is not even. Ugh, it's not even reachable from down here. I would like an airlock here too, I think. Probably that's something that won't melt. That would be good. But yeah, I've done a bit of an annoying thing here because it's technically out of reach. Oh no, I don't need to go that often. 1, 2. Yeah, so you can do intervals of 5 because 4 in the middle. So 1, 2. Okay. You have to use it all to be cool. Exactly. The very knows. He knows how to be cool. He's a cool guy. Is that going to reach? No, without taking this out. Take the fire extinguisher out. We won't need a fire extinguisher in a steam room. I mean, how? You have a fire in a steam room? That's good going. Like, this reminds me of IT ground. In a sea parks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, then we'll have to go up. Cool. And then yeah, we'll have to deal with this sour gas. Which is gonna be its whole other own thing. Cool. Right, digging continues. Yeah. I mean, I think, to be honest, freezing this wouldn't be a bad idea from a... Ah, I forgot the artifacts then, or did I get the artifacts? Oh, I got the artifacts from the water planetoid. Can we get the artifacts from here? That's going to be a stretch. I reckon we can. Ooh. Yeah, so I think if we corner build, we can get the artifacts out. We'll see. 100% pure oxygen atmosphere. We never had a fire. Yeah, exactly. We're good in only. Fires are not a concern. There is a lot of magma. I mean, this is the superconductor planetoid. That's what you get. I mean, we can turn this into building material, right? That sounds good. Okay. Poor old Wolfrat, actually. Wolfrat can't even mine this stuff. So I guess he's on collecting duty. Is this the bottom? Okay, that's the bottom, right. We've reached the bottom of the magma planetoid, which is nice. It's actually a smaller planetoid. Only to the combustion out there. Future DLC. That's true. But magma and fire go hand in hand, you know. Not entirely unrelated. Okay, I don't think we need to go down there. We got a ton of niobium on here, and hopefully some of that collected in here too. In fact, yeah, 400 kilos already. So I think we're going to get 1 ton and we'll just leave it like that. We don't even... Anyway, okay, Wolfrat can do the analysis, which is nice. There you go. Okay. Slopio over here. I guess these guys are just chilling around. So let's see. The shape of this thing is where is the nuclear reactor? Refined metal. Can't place it. Okay, how big is the nuclear reactor? It looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need a 6 inner one. Oh boy, this would be easier to place. Have I got a better picture? Okay, 6 inside and then 1, 2, 3, 4... Okay, so 6 by 6 square at the top. So if we do that... Yeah, this is why... Oh, okay. We do need to try all these ones though. Because we're letting some gas out, which is not good. Yep. So, okay, let's let me deconstruct that and then we'll start planning it. How about that? Maybe fire's in game, you're not sure he's trust. I mean, I don't trust the dudes with hot stuff anyway, even without any fire. They love making problems. Okay, it looks like we've done this over here as well. Building melted drywall. Oh, well that's not good. This is in contact with this. Oxygen. There's oxygen inside. Ooh. Okay. You stupid. It's the biggest strength and weakness. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly that. I guess the easiest way is to come down here. I mean, I could also still pitch a pump out. Because the thing is, this way, I mean, I can come sideways with corner building. I'm not sure if I can actually go down with corner building. I probably can, but I'm having a bit of a brain block on how to do that, so... Okay, nice. Right, any... There's no telescoping to be done from here. God, poor old Big Boss is still coming in. Still coming home. Also him out again. This tubes and shit. I mean, yeah. You know what they're like. You know what they're like. They'll take any excuse just to make a mess. Ah, we should have some more igneous rock now. We've mined out that nice vein of igneous rock. Okay, I guess we'll just leave this in. We'll just come around here and then... There you are, something like that. How's that for a steam room? It's quite a big one. Do we have lead over here? Could I send some lead through, possibly? How much? Forgot. Yeah, 19 tons. Because lead's great for making steam turbines out of. Because it doesn't affect the overheat, as long as they don't melt. And it's quite abundant, so that is very good for that. Yeah, let's where's the... Put lead on there as well. They can just chuck that through when they have the time, and they probably will have time, so that's good. Right, what are you gonna do with the sour gas? That is a very good question. Get rid of it. Pump it somewhere. We could just pump it. I could just literally high pressure gas vent it out here and let it rise. Possible. I could also, yeah, I could put it in a gas reservoir in theory. I don't know, I can't really bother to deal with it, so. Right, let's build this microtuner this time out of steel, like we should have done. Also, I'm hoping this temperature is now good enough to actually put polluted water in here. Not polluted ice immediately. And then also this rocket is going to go back out telescoping. We are just going around. Did we get any artifacts? No. Okay. So we'll come through here and then through the other one. We reloaded already. Where's the range remaining one tile? We're down on oxalite, so I see. Okay. Just on the to-do list, that's fine. Oh god, these plants are all dying. None of these plants are working. Oh, and I've also emptied all of my supercoolant because I wasn't paying any attention. Okay. This problem, I can't pay attention to so many things, and then stuff like this can happen. Okay, at least we didn't spill anything or make it too much of a mess. Nice, right, we got that analysed. Erupts in 3 cycles, good to know. Doesn't really affect anything, but good to know. Yeah, just everything's priority 9, which is kind of the problem. We do also have blueprints for this week, of course, so let's have a look at these. Anything good? Set it, forget it, chaos. Exactly. The nuts are better. I already have that one, but that's a good recycle, so Better than socks and drywall. We'll take it. Oh yeah, and also guys, I mean, mini announcement as well. From the Clay Ambassador program, it looks like we are finally getting some more tangible rewards as well, which I'm looking forward to. I'm gonna turn this off. I don't want it to get in too hot. So yeah, I may be able to get some regular keys, I think, for giveaways and stuff. Again, it looks mostly Don't Starve Together focused, but there looks like there was some Oxygen Not Included on there as well. So hopefully that means I can get some keys for Oxygen Not Included. If it doesn't, okay. And then I don't know. I mean, I can give them away. Obviously, that's entirely the point in theory, that I can give them away. But who am I giving them away to? That's a very good question, because I mean, I swear all of you have only anyway, except the few people that watch my videos, even though they don't play the game. Great, that one turned into steam. That's not good. Yeah. We gotta have more polluted. I need a layer here. Yeah, I had a few people comment on, particularly on the tutorial bites, that they watch them even though they don't play only, which cool. I mean, more viewers the better, of course, but up to you. Yeah, I mean, most of you guys that are watching, what are we on now? This is episode part number, where was it? 24? I mean, if you've watched 24 hours of me playing this game and you don't play it, I mean, let me know in the comments. That I'm very interested people are watching this much only and don't even play it, but there you go. We'll see. We'll get some keys, hopefully. Anyway, we will see. Not making any promises on that yet, but that seems to have been announced as an idea. Okay, I guess Wolfrat can't do anything at this point. And we've already... Is there any more niobium to have? I could just grab it, or I could not bother. 700 kilos. I could just swap one of these onto niobium. Okay, we'll just change this one from iron to niobium, and then Wolfrat can go fill that up whilst we're busy. Okay, come on. Yeah, it's the kind of thing I don't want to forget about now. Yeah, problem is there's so little polluted water. I need more. I think they're doing like little pea mop-ups and stuff. I think that's where they're getting it from, so there's not a lot in those bottles. What's entombed? Oh, this. Okay, well, yeah, fine. These tubes being sent to the hellish plant. Not the, yeah, well, the other only big man can dig. He has the digging skills. Wolfrat can't dig. He's just a pilot. So yeah, I'll put him on the collecting task. Although he's now sleeping anyway. Okay, we've got some more prints. Box form, principal undertaker. Oh, we've got so much food over here. Alright. We'll just say the respirate. Where's it gone? There it is. Move it to our infinite storage, aka... We've got rotting stuff. Rotting stuff's not good. Sweep that up. Fertilization, we're out of phosphorite. Why are we out of phosphorite? Because we're not doing mammoth patties. Why are we not doing mammoth patties? Because it's only priority 6. Building melted, drywall. Okay, great. We've got a second print as well from the cosmetics. Let's have a look at that. Anything fun? Ooh, executive briefs. Okay. Kind of amusing. I like it. So yeah, I think we just build our way across like this, basically. I say like this, how are we gonna get through here? Okay. I guess we're not doing that. See if we can corner build this up. Just sneak through here. We may need to pitch pump it. Or we could just dig through and go over it. There are options. There are options. Okay. Right, what's going on down here as well? Okay. There's molten salts. What on earth happened down here? I guess some salt. Actually, I do love molten salt. Molten salt looks really cool. Yeah, I'm still mildly miffed about the geotuner change. My lovely gaseous salt build. That was crazy, that one. Okay, maybe we shouldn't actually take this one out. Yeah. Also, I can't get across here. That one. This one is going to have to die, I'm afraid. What's going on with research? I have no idea. What are we doing with research? Drill cone? Red bolt engine? Strange red bolt engine. There's 10 layers of magma. Magma's quite sticky, so it won't flow that well. It should be okay, I think. Like, in terms of if you're worried about pushing this being pushed up, I don't think so. We'll see. It's very viscous. Yeah, didn't really do anything. Okay. Yes, I mean, my thought is, if we just dig this out deep enough, we should be fine. Yeah, no, I mean, magma doesn't work like that. So, it's all alright. Okay, we good over here? Third planetoid. We are. So, right, let me have a look at this video and then double check what I was doing. So, if we have an internal 6x6 space here, that would look like this. And it comes in. Of course, we're going to need to be able to get in here, so there's a thing. And then we want some mesh tiles here. We'll not use our precious gold. Okay, yeah, so it's mainly the shape I need. 1, 2. Like that. 1, 4, 5, 6. So there's 5 here for the steam turbine. Right, lovely. 1, 2, 3. The steam turbine. So I'm just placing this out. I think that goes to there. That should be 10, right? Okay. Can yeah, put some. I'm basically going to mirror the design that I actually did in the tutorial bite. Yeah, but now see, this is the thing, is this copper volcano is in the way. Could we just put the copper volcano inside the steam room? Is that a bit mad? I mean, in theory that'll work. I don't see why that can't work. Okay, this is going to be probably the first ever nuclear reactor with a copper volcano in the middle, because, you know, why not? Are they going to be dripping nuclear waste on it? Oh. Okay. I could move this, but I'm kind of... okay. Actually, the other problem is it going to hit the base over here? I'm not sure I've got enough space. So this is 5. So it looks something like this. Then I need 10. I need 10 here. So it'd have to come like that. Which is not ideal, because that does go over my ladder. I guess... move the whole thing over 2. That would help. Okay, great. I lost my chat. Hi, Rosie. Rosie Harvey. It seems reasonable. Good. I'm glad you're agreeing with that. I need you guys to tell me this isn't crazy, because otherwise you might think it is crazy. Let's But just something like that, something like that. Right, get my picture back. I'm literally drawing from a picture here, so 5. I guess the key size is this one anyway. Yep. Okay. But then hopefully that should go down here, and then we've got enough space, right? Right? That looks better. Good. Ooh. That down there, and then we'll just... That also allows us actually to go around the volcano a bit more nicely. I mean, technically we don't need to go around the neutronium, of course, but anyway. Right, and then this section... Just mirror this thing. There should be enough space, right? Right, that is perfect. That squeezes perfectly in between these guys. What about that? Wait, hold on. This should be 3, not 2. God, fiddly. It's fiddly, guys. It's very fiddly. Okay, it doesn't matter for this because this is bigger anyway. Okay, and then so I need a... I'm going to go aquatuner, sensor, pump. So it's going to be something like that. And like that. There you go. Okay, and we'll just open enough paths. Get through here. We'll stick a ladder down the middle. Although, yeah, this is not going to fly here. Oh, okay, buildings. Okay, sorry guys, I can't see chat for a second. Let's open that. That. And then we'll reinstate this. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. That's unpathable. That's... Look at that. There you go. Right. Nuclear reactor. Seems good. Let's go for that. Hold on. It's time. We're a little bit early on the time. I run my intro for about 5 minutes and then go for a little bit. Yeah, I can't see cause mayhem. Thank you there, Vera. Always helpful. Yeah, I got a couple of minutes, that's right. Thank you for the reminder, Grievous. Okay. So almost done on this planetoid. And then the other thing with this planetoid is... is this going to be... Explode swamp. Okay. Does this one need an infinite water storage or not? Where is the... What's the water source for this? Oxalite meteor. I think let's see, so it's gonna make 750 grams a second. Plus the oxalite. Should be fine. So I think we can get away with an infinite storage on here too. The question is, where's the boiler going to go? So I think... Which one was this one? Okay. Alright, fundamentally, this base is going to move later on, which is also why I haven't put the printing pod down. Okay. Alright, hold on, creepers. I got the time. So, should we put the infinite water storage on the left side? Oh, scolding. All for out. No. Oh no. Yeah, no, that wasn't the best idea. Okay, get him out. None of this is more. Yeah, so my plan is just to kind of live with running through the magma for a little bit. I mean, we really just need the artifacts, which I think are buried in here. Or maybe artifact singular, but either way we'll get it. Okay, Big Boss. Big Boss should really be chilling. I don't know why. Ah, brakes. Yeah. Weird. Yeah, it did get pushed up. It got pushed up in the end because I built the tiles. It displaces it. It wouldn't have come up just from kind of pressure forces alone. Those don't really exist. But now the problem is... Oh no, okay. That was all for it. Okay, Big Man's still going. Big Man's actually the more important one from a digging perspective. But yeah, this means he's got to stand in the magma. This is not great. Probably should have done this better. Because they can actually take a little bit before they start getting injured. So ideally what I want to do is drop this into a hole and then we'll be fine. Could put a mesh tile in and mop that. Okay. No, I mean the tubes are pretty chill on the lava front. That's the thing. Yeah, I think this is going to be the first nuclear reactor with a copper volcano in the middle of it. Because, you know, this is how we roll. Well, it means we're going to have to make it enterable as well. So we'll have to do a liquid lock. Although we don't have any suits on that planetoid as well. That's another thing. Ugh. So many things to think about here. Okay. He's going to chill. Yeah, I kind of just wanted them out the lava as well, because it kind of resets their lava tolerance. Oof, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's really 5 tiles of lava here. Just came in. Holy, there's a lot of lava indeed. Ah, right. Now I've missed the end of the episode. Creepers, this is all your fault. Hi everyone. Okay. Yeah, hi S8. Okay, let's get him back. Right, what have we done this episode? Let me do my wrap up before we called. So we finally got the geothermal vent, all of them activated. Made a bit of a mess, which is not great. We're currently just hollowing this space out, and then we will stick a load of steam turbines on the top if we can get some lead, which we should be sending through. Yeah, one ton. Only 1 ton. Where's that? Okay. Yeah, molten salt as well. So that's been the main thing on here. Done a bit of the telescoping. We need to send that back out when we've de-stressed. On the second planetoid, we were just strip mining on this side. I need to put in an infinite storage over here. So we'll do that immediately on the next episode. And on the third one, I have now strip mined and planned for a nuclear reactor. So this is interesting. And on the magma planetoid, we have got all the niobium we came for. I'm now just trying to be a little bit greedy and steal the artifacts as well. So that's it for this episode. I'll wrap up quickly there. Thank you guys very much for watching this one. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.